Sir,
Okay,
excuse me,
so
sir.
any doubt is there?
Yes, sir. Sir,
Hmm.
you told that from the formula I square R,
Yeah,
the magnitude will give us the average power.
yeah,
Sir, but
yes.
I'm by doing that I am getting the apparent power, that is 720 watt.
What you, how you
Do
calculated?
we, sir, I square R, I've done simply I square R.
1 second.
Sir, my doubt is, do we need to multiply cos of minus 53.13?
No. You should not multiply that. So that's why I'm saying when you are using that formula, you should be very confident with your understanding of the concept. Okay. So here they have asked you find out the average power for two loads. So let's say this is your load one. You are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 2 minus J1 is one load, and the other one is 1 plus J5. Okay. So in that, the real part corresponds to R. Okay. So here it is 2 ohms. And the imaginary part is minus J1, which corresponds to some capacitive reactance. Okay. So since we are confident that the average power consumed by a capacitor or inductor is 0, okay. So only the real part, which is resistor alone, will consume the average power. So the average power consumed by resistor is nothing but the average power consumed by this entire element. Okay, right. So based on that, and you have a resistor. So for resistor, I square R. That means I RMS square into R. So that will give you the average power for this particular load. Remember that this is only for this particular load. Okay, right. So in that scenario, you can multiply I square, that is 12 square into R, which is 2.
Okay,
So
sir.
12
Okay.
square into 2. So that
Yes,
will
sir.
be 288 watts. Okay,
Okay, sir. Now it is
right.
clear.
But the method which I have shown on the screen, that is a straight, that is a clear cut method which will not have any confusion with regards to calculation of any value, apparent power, average power, power factor, all information you will get if you are adopting the method which I have explained. Okay, but if you want to cross check, okay, so when you are doing cross checking, you should be very confident in your concept. You should know what is average power, what is apparent power, what is resistive kind of load, what is inductive kind of load. Okay, so if you are very much familiar with all these terminologies, and by seeing the circuit itself, you are confident enough that I can say whether it's inductive nature load or capacitive nature load. Okay, so then you can cross check your result by adopting this I square R method. Okay, right. So for adopting this method, you should be very clearly understanding all the terminologies and other things properly. Okay.
Sir, sir,
Yeah.
sir, the same can we use V square by R, sir?
Why not? You can use V square by R also. So V is the voltage across this 2 minus J1. That means V1. Okay. So what is the value of V1 here? 26.83. Okay. Right. So this is your RMS value of voltage, 26.83. Okay. So V square divided by R is 2 ohms. So try to calculate that value. What is that? 26.83 is your RMS value of voltage V1. Okay, 26.83 whole square divided by 2. Right.
Sir,
So
it
that
is
should
like
give you 288
60.
watts. How much?
Sir, it is come to be
Calculate na.
359, sir. 359 watts.
26.83. V square divided by R. Oh, it can be like that. What is this value you calculate na? 26.86 it
59,
all
sir.
into 2.3. VRMS V square divided by R. No, it should give the same answer. I square into R is one thing, and anyway, I'll come back to that. Okay, so but it should give the same answer. I will see that. Okay, I'll check it out. Okay, so voltage across this is this one, V1 is this one. So what is the, I mean, you calculate this one, is it correct now? 26.83.
Yes, sir.
So V square divided by R also should give the same value. But anyway, I will check it out and I will let you know. Okay. Okay, so that V square divided by R concept I will think and I will let you know by next class.
Actually,
Okay.
it is 26.76.
26.76, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So try to do that, V square divided by R.
Now it's 358 volts. 356 volts.
Okay. Okay. You are here, right? You are able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
V square divided by Z you do? You know the Z from this, right? 2 square plus 1 square whole root. I think you should get 288. Are you able to do now?
Sir, 26.76 into 26.76 upon root 5. है ना sir?
Yeah.
So sir, that is
320.
321.12.
You have I effective square into R. I effective is V by. Okay, okay. So in that sense, I think that V square will not be valid. Okay. Right. So what is the concept here is the basic formula what I told is I effective whole square into R. Okay. Correct na? So if you see that your I is coming from voltage divided by I is coming from voltage divided by impedance. Okay, so when you are doing the impedance, that means your current is actually this voltage divided by total impedance. You are understanding now? You are able to understand or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in the formula what I have told, I effective square into R, your current is the flowing into this resistor. How you have got that current? That current is the total voltage divided by total impedance. Okay, so that's how you have got your current value. Okay, when you apply V square divided by R, you are considering only voltage across this element. Okay, right. Right. So the I effective what you have calculated and the voltage which is across this element, the both are not same. Your I is coming from the impact of this impedance also. You are understanding or not? Anyway, okay. So I will give you a clear picture in the next class regarding that why whether V effective square divided by R is applicable or not. So that I will say. If it is not applicable, why it is not applicable, I will say. Okay. So that we will discuss in the next class. Okay. Why means because the current is not determined only from this load. It is determined from the combination of these two. Okay, so in that scenario, your formula is applicable or not, that we will cross check, and if it is applicable, you are getting same answer or not, that we will discuss later. Okay. Okay then. So we will. Is it clear? Hello.
Yes, sir.
You are able to
Yes,
hear
sir.
my voice now? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I square R formula is applicable. That is sure. V square R is applicable or not, because you are not getting the same answer. Okay. But I should check whether it is applicable or not. If it is applicable, I should get the same answer. Okay. So the V what you are going to substitute, that is very critical in that if you are applying that formula. Okay. Because I square R formula and V square R formula which we have already defined, I told it is only a resistive load. If you observe in the previous slides, for resistive load, I have given those two formulas. Now you have a scenario where you have resistance and reactance in your circuit. Okay, right. So for that, we should be very careful whether the voltage what V, which one you have to consider. Okay, so that's why I will cross check it and let you know what should be that V. Okay, right. Okay, so that is regarding this problem, right? So now one more power is there, which is called as complex power, right? So we have seen average power, we have seen apparent power. Okay, always remember, when average power or apparent power is asked, you should think it is asked across an element or across delivered from the source or across the load. Okay, if it is across the load, you have to consider the voltage across the load and current into the load. If it is across any specific element, you have to find out what is the voltage across that element and current flowing into that element. Then you can use this formula V effective into I effective into cos of theta minus phi. Okay, right. So please remember that voltage and current should be across the element or the source or load, whatever I have asked. Okay, so the next term is complex power. Okay, so we'll see what is this complex power. So for the general voltage and current across the terminals, okay, so this is your phasor voltage, which is given as V effective at an angle of theta, and phasor current, which is given as I effective at an angle of phi. Okay, right. So how to find out the complex power? So the complex power is denoted by S bar, because this is also a complex number, so it can also be called as a phasor. Okay, so this is denoted as S bar. Okay, similar to phasor notation, how you have defined V effective bar, similarly S bar. Okay, so this is complex power. What is it is represented as V effective into I effective conjugate. Okay, so the voltage phasor into the current phasor conjugate. The product of this one, these two, is called as complex power. So if you have expand this expression, what will be that? Inspecting the polar and exponential forms of complex power. Okay, this is your voltage. V effective at an angle of theta is your voltage in polar form. I effective at an angle of phi is your current in polar form. Okay, if I substitute these two in this complex power S bar, okay, so what I will get? V effective into I effective into e power j into theta minus phi. Is it clear or not? You are able to understand it or not? Yeah, simply I am representing this polar form into exponential form. So it will be V effective e power j theta, and current will be I effective e power j5. Since I have conjugate, I should place minus sign. So it will be V effective into I effective into e power j into theta minus phi. Okay, I hope you will be able to understand this simple substitution of these two in exponential form. That's all. Okay, right. So this one, which is RMS value of voltage into RMS value of current, is called as apparent power. The magnitude of complex power, which is V effective into I effective, is nothing but your apparent power. Okay, and this theta minus phi is nothing but your power factor angle. Correct, na? So if you represent this one in rectangular form, so what will be that? The complex power will be S bar is equals to P plus J Q. So that means this one, which is given in exponential form, I am writing in the form of a rectangular form. So I am calling it as P plus JQ, where P is nothing but your real, average, true, or active power. All terminologies mean the same. So this is P is your average power, and Q is called as reactive power. Okay, so reactive power is one more new term. So along with complex power, you have one more new term which is called as reactive power, denoted by letter Q. Okay, so the reactive power is denoted by Q and the unit is volt ampere reactive. Okay, so it is given as V effective into I effective into sine of theta minus phi. Okay, so that means nothing but this complex power S bar we are writing in the form of a rectangular form. What will be that? V effective into I effective into cos of theta minus phi plus J into V effective into I effective into sine of theta minus phi. Okay, so that imaginary term is nothing but your reactive power Q, which is given by this expression, and the real power you already know, P is V effective into I effective into cos of theta minus phi. Okay, so that means the complex power can be defined as V into I conjugate. If you write in the form of exponential form and then write in the form of a rectangular form, you can call it as complex power is equals to real power plus J into reactive power. Okay, which is nothing but Q. Q is equals to V effective into I effective into sine of theta minus phi. So you understood this thing, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Simply we are calculating the complex power, which is nothing but S bar, which is V into I conjugate. That's all. So if you expand that and write in the form of polar form, you will get P plus JQ, and Q is nothing but your reactive power. Okay. So what is this reactive power? What does it mean? Okay. The physical interpretation of your reactive power is the time rate of energy flow back and forth between the source. Okay, right. That means it is the energy which is flowing back and forth between the source and the reactive component in the load. Okay, so the reactive component is nothing but inductance or capacitance in the load, and source is there. Okay, so that means it is the energy which is transferred from source to load and back from load to source. That means from inductance to source, okay, and source to inductance. These components alternatively charge and discharge, which leads to the current flow from and to the source respectively. So that means this reactive power term will come into picture only when you have inductance and capacitance in your circuit, and it is an indication of how much amount of power, okay, it is actually transferred from source to your reactive element and back from reactive element to your source. So this is the physical meaning.
Sir.
Okay, but it is called as reactive power because it will not consume any real power. It will just transfer from source to load and load to source back. That's all. Okay, so this is denoted by Q, not by P. P is the real power which is actually consumed or delivered to the load. Okay, so this Q is not actually consumed by the load. It is just shuffling, moving from source to load and load to source. Okay. Anyone has doubt in this? This is the physical meaning. You have calculated mathematically and represented Q has some value which is V effective into Ft into sine of theta minus phi. Okay. What is the physical meaning is it is the power which is flowing from source to load and load to source. If a reactive element is present in your circuit, then only this will have some magnitude. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Sir, it can be, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, it is also it can called as the oscillation energy of reactive elements.
You can call it as oscillation, but that term may not suit. Okay. But it is actually something like that. It is a oscillation energy from source to the load. Okay, right. It is actually the power which is oscillating. Flowing from source to load and load back to source. Okay, right. So that will happen only if you have inductance or capacitance in your circuit. Okay. You can call it as oscillation energy because when it is flowing into the source, into the inductor, obviously your inductor is absorbing energy. Okay, and when it is delivering back from inductor to source, it is delivering, energy is delivered from the inductor. Okay, sometimes it is charging, sometimes it is discharging. Okay, even for inductor or capacitor, this is what is going to happen. But over one time period, how much it has charged, it will again discharge. Okay, so you understood, na? So it is something like oscillations between the source and the load. Okay. Its value is not equals to 0. It is varying with respect to time. Okay. So how much it has charged? Let's say in half cycle. Okay. In the next half cycle, it will discharge that much. Okay. Right.
Sir, average power 0.
Yeah. Average power is the term for P. Okay. So the average power P for this inductor is 0. So that is correct. Okay.
Yes.
That's why we are calling it as Q. It is one which is it will not have, let's say P is there some value, by adding one more inductor to the circuit will not increase any your P value. It will increase only your Q value. You are understanding, na? Let's say you have
Yes,
resistor. Let's say you have resistor. There is no reactor at all in that. Okay, circuit is only R. Okay, average power, let's say for 50 watts is there. Now I have connected to that resistor one parallel reactor I have connected. That means let's say inductor or capacitance, whatever it may be. Your P remains same. P is same 50 watts only. But your Q have some value. Previously your Q is 0. Now you will Q have some value. Okay. Right. Understood. So the average power is 0 for a pure inductor or a pure capacitor. Okay. So next term is power terminology. The same thing what we have discussed it till now. So that in terms of power triangle they will call it the commonly employed graphical representation of the complex power. Okay. So the complex power S bar is a combination of P plus J Q. Okay. So that can be given in this form as a power triangle where P is your real part and Q is your reactive part. Okay. So Q can be existing because of inductor present in your circuit or capacitance present in your circuit or inductance and capacitance both present in your circuit. Okay. If both are present also, Q can have some value. Okay. It can be a positive value, means it will be in this direction. If the Q value is negative, then it will be in the downward direction. You are understanding, na? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So this is your power triangle with P and JQ, and angle will be theta minus phi between these two, and this is your complex power. More specifically speaking, this should not be S, this should be S modulus. Okay. Modulus of S. Okay. Modulus of S is nothing but your apparent power, which is V effective into I effective. You are understanding? Here I have written only S. It is actually I mean S bar modulus. S bar is the notation for complex power. If you find out the amplitude of that alone, amplitude of S bar alone, that is nothing but your apparent power, which is V effective into I effective. Okay, that means P square plus Q square whole root. That is nothing but V effective into I effective. Anyway, you will understand that. Is it clear now? So this power triangle is clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so S is nothing but P plus JQ. The magnitude of that one will be root of P square plus Q square. Root of P square plus Q square is nothing but S bar modulus, which is nothing but your apparent power. Okay. If the power triangle lies in the first quadrant, then the power factor is lagging. That means theta minus phi is greater than 0. Your power factor is lagging. That means Q is positive. Okay, when Q is positive, it indirectly means that your power factor is lagging. So you will have the power triangle in the first quadrant. If the power triangle lies in the fourth quadrant, that means below this, exactly opposite to this. Okay, in that scenario, your power factor is leading and theta minus phi will be less than 0. That means it will come in the downward direction. Okay. So by seeing the power triangle itself, you can guess what is the nature of the load. If the power triangle is shown in the first quadrant as shown now, it means that your power factor is lagging and your Q value is positive. Okay, you are getting plus J something for Q. If your power triangle is in the fourth quadrant, then your Q will have minus J something. Okay, minus J some value. Okay, so in that case, your power triangle will be in the fourth quadrant, and you can straight away say that it corresponds to some leading power factor load. Okay. Okay, so this is regarding complex power, which is S bar is equals to P plus JQ. Okay, so this is regarding your power triangle. Okay, so for better understanding, I have given this table here. Okay, so different powers I have denoted here. Okay, so average power is denoted by letter P. Formula is V effective into I effective into cos of theta minus phi. Okay. Next, reactive power is denoted by letter Q. Formula is V effective into I effective into sin of theta minus phi. What is the unit? Volt ampere reactive. VAR. Complex power denoted by S bar. All these formulas are valid, which is P plus JQ or V effective phasor into I effective phasor conjugate or V effective into I effective at an angle of theta minus phi. Okay. So this is polar form, this is something like exponential form, and this is rectangular form. Unit is volt amperes. Okay. Apparent power is nothing but the magnitude of your complex power, which is V effective into I effective, and the unit is again volt amperes. Okay. But complex power is denoted by S bar and apparent power is denoted by S. Okay. Is it clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So some small conclusion for complex power. Okay. The complex power delivered to several interconnected loads is the sum of the complex power delivered to each of the individual loads, no matter how the loads are connected. So that means complex power, let's say, see the figure here. Okay, so the complex power delivered from this source terminals is nothing but the sum of complex power have delivered to each individual load. Okay, so S is equals to V into I conjugate. Okay, so I is nothing but I1 plus I2. Okay, so you can get S is equals to V into I1 conjugate plus V into I2 conjugate. That means the total complex power is equals to the sum of the individual complex powers absorbed by each load. Okay, so this is what the conclusion. Okay, so this is regarding your different powers, different symbols or notations to represent all the powers, and these are the formulas, okay, which you should follow. And before concluding, we will have different meters. Voltmeter is used to measure what?
Voltage.
Voltage, RMS value or maximum value or some value.
RMS.
Okay, so voltmeter will always measure RMS value of the voltage. Okay, across any two terminals, if you connect, it will give the RMS value of the voltage. Ammeter, RMS value of current. Okay, and to measure power, which instrument is required? Please switch off your mics. I am hearing some noise from someone. Okay, so to measure power, what instrument is required?
Wattmeter.
Okay, so wattmeter will measure which power? Which it measures average power. Okay, so wattmeter always measures average power. That is nothing but average or real or true or active, whatever it may be. So that will measure the average power. And there is one more meter called as VAR meter. Okay, VAR, VAR meter. So that will measure your reactive power. That is nothing but your Q. Okay, right. And one more meter called as watt hour meter. So what is this one? What it will measure? It records the real energy in the given time interval. So that is nothing but your energy meter. Okay, your in house you will have an energy meter. Okay, so it records the real energy, that means the real power with some time interval. Okay, so that is watt hour meter. And there is one more meter which is called as var hour meter, which will measure the reactive energy in a given time interval. Okay, okay, so this is just for your understanding. So you have voltmeter to measure voltage, RMS value, ammeter to measure RMS current, wattmeter to measure average power, var meter to measure reactive power Q, watt hour meter to measure real energy in a specific time interval. Okay, and var hour meter which records reactive energy in a given time interval. Okay, so these are the meters which are generally used for measurement of different parameters in AC circuits. Okay.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, var hour meter. Sir.
It reactive energy Q. You have var meter na, which will measure your Q. Okay, this is basically okay. Q you have measured, but some specific time interval. Okay, if you see your energy meter in your home, okay, you will have something which is rotating. You have seen it or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that means you are consuming power. Okay, but your electricity bill will be charged based on number of units you have consumed. Okay, okay, the speed of that rotation will be varying based on your power which is being drawn. Okay, let's say you have on 2 fans in your house, the speed will be, let's say, x RMS revolutions per second or whatever it may be. Okay, now we have switched off your fans. Okay, then the speed of that fellow, that rotating part should come down because you are consuming less power. Okay, so accordingly the speed of that instrument which is keeping on rotating will vary. Okay, so let's say in 1 hour it has made 100 revolutions. Okay, it will give some this much bill you have got. Next hour, let's say you have completely switched off your load. Okay, then the bill will be very much minimum. Okay, so that is basically called as energy meter. Okay, it will determine how much energy you have consumed. Energy is nothing but power into time, right? Okay, so in a specific time interval, how much power you have consumed, which is nothing but your energy. So based on that energy, they will give you the bill. Okay, you understood?
Yes.
You understood or not? Okay, it's basically records the energy consumption in your house. Okay. Okay, so so these are the meters that are used in AC circuits generally. Okay, so we'll see one problem next class, maybe tomorrow. Okay, so this problem we'll see tomorrow how to solve that. So that's it for today. And one announcement, you will have exam on Thursday. Okay, Thursday morning we have 10:10 class, right? That time we will have exam. I will send you the mail on first topic only, chapter 1, DC circuits. Okay, so prepare well for that. I will send you the syllabus, that means DC circuits, timing, and it will be in a Google Classroom only. So you have to join in Google Classroom. You have already one triply, you have already taken one exam, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so similar to that, you will have exam in Google Classroom only. Okay, so on Thursday morning we will have exam only on DC circuits, not AC circuits. AC will have one more exam later. Okay, I will send you the timing and how to join Google Classroom. You have already joined Google Classroom, na? Okay, so just you have to go there and click on the question paper. So accordingly you have to answer that. Okay, it can be a multiple choice questions or fill in the blanks. If it's fill in the blanks, you have to write just the number. Let's say I have asked you to find what is the power absorbed. You have to write that value there. If it's a multiple choice question, you have to just tick mark. That's all. Okay, so Thursday morning we will have exam on this. And one talk is there on cyber security today at from 3 to 5. Okay, it may be there for 1 hour only. Okay, so already they have sent you the WebEx link, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so please join for that talk. Okay, he is a good speaker anyway. Okay, so you'll get some idea regarding that. It's a general topic. Okay. Okay, so that's it for today. So tomorrow we'll see that one problem on this complex power. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, so yeah.
Sir, that practice sheet 2, sir, for AC circuit, question number 5, sir.
Okay, I will open that slide once. Okay.